Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for joining me. Today is December the 13th, 2022. Uh, I have several updates to share with you. So I will start with the Oromo protests in Washington, D.C. Uh, this is the first day of their schedule. They have one more protest tomorrow, and Prime Minister of Ethiopia Abiy Ahmed sneaked into the United States, concealed himself as a criminal. Uh, is not is not in a celebratory mood like in uh, 2018 or after that when he arrived in the United States. That time was honeymoon, welcomed, well celebrated, but this time he concealed himself with a scarf, hat, almost like somebody is hiding from attention. So that is the way he chose in the last 3+ years. And instead of peace and stability, he chose war, bloodshed, and he chose a different, a dictatorial style of leadership. Uh, he abused the justice system. He became a dictator. He controlled everything. Now everything is upside down at home and here in diaspora. So that's unfortunate. That is the road he chose to lead the country. Uh, you know, he just ignored ignored all the call for peaceful resolution. He created he caused for 500,000 deaths, unknown destruction, grave human rights violation in Ethiopia, still the ongoing war in Oromia region, uh, instability everywhere, including the capital city, uh, chaos in schools, uh, school property destruction, uh, you know, so many issues with his leadership. So I will start with DC just for a test of today's presentation. They are protesting against Prosperity Party. They are also demanding the United States stop supporting Abiy Ahmed, and they have so many different slogans. Let's start with that one and continue with other news. In addition to this one, the other Ethiopians also protesting in DC against the prime minister. Those Amaras disappointed with his leadership, so they have a different agenda. Even though we share the same country, but we have different uh, goal, different agenda. With we cannot be united. We don't have one objective. The Amaras and those supporting the Amaras, they have their own target, and they are also not happy with the leadership of Abiy Ahmed. He's not going the way they want him to go. But anyway, we start with uh, Oromo, Washington, D.C. protest. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you, OMN, for this.
Terrorist Fando auto. Kami sitti deebina jidduudhani yeroo geessee hedduu galatoomi gara dhaadannootti haa darbinu takka turre sitti deebina. Amma kabajamtoota daawwattoota keenyatiif dhaggeeffattoota keenya warri hiriira irratti hirmaachuudhaaf iddoo adda addaatii gara Waashingtan DC'tti kan jedhani akkasumas Oromoo Waashingtan naannoo sana jiraatanii yeroo ammaa kana walitti qabamaa jiru. Hiriirichi jalqabamee jira. Yoo xinnaate gareewwan 11 har'a mormii irratti kan hirmaatanii akkasumas immoo warri sirna namaa isaa jiru kanneessa uummata Oromoo irratti raawwataa jiru kana deeggaranillee gama isaatiin hiriira deeggarsaaf akka ba'an kan hirmaataa jiru. Kana keessa hawaasni Oromoo keessa tokko kan hawaasa Oromoo irratti Waashingtan DC irraa kan dabarfata amma sududumaan gara Waashingtan DC. Oromia belongs to the Oromos. 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 Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. War, no. War, no. War, no. War, no. Destruction, no. Destruction, no. Destruction, no. Destruction, no. Killing, no. Killing, no. Killing, no. Killing, no. Drones, no. Drones, no. Drones, no. Drones, no. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Justice, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. Peace, yes. War, no. War, no. War, no. War, no. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed. Peace, peace, peace. A terrorist. A terrorist. A terrorist. Abiy Ahmed. Please. A liar. A liar. A liar. A liar. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed. A liar. A liar. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed. Should go. Should go. Should go. Should go. Now. 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 We support. We support. We support. We support. Oromo students. Oromo students. Oromo students. Oromo students. We support. We support. We support. We support. Oromo students. Oromo students. Oromian. 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 Civil something. Civil something. Civil something. Civil something. Bando. 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 Out of Oromia. Out of Oromia. Out of Oromia. Out of Oromia. Eritrean forces. Eritrean forces. Eritrean forces. Eritrean forces. Out of Oromia. Out of Oromia. Out of Oromia. We demand justice. We demand justice. We demand justice. We demand
Okay, so this is the first day of Oromo protest in Washington, D.C. against the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, who is attending U.S. African Summit, uh, you know, in D.C. So it was not expected. Concerned citizens, media didn't expect, the war criminal, the genocider, who was responsible for almost more than 500,000 people dead, killed in Ethiopia, still the ongoing bloodshed in that country. Biden invited him to attend this very high-level meeting. So it's shame on the United States, who are advocating for democracy, justice, peace in the world, and inviting genociders, criminals, to attend this high-level meeting. So that's a disappointment. Oromos campaigned against it, others campaigned against it, but Biden, the White House, decided to hold, to invite the war criminals into Washington, D.C. So that's unfortunate, but this is the test of Oromo protest in Washington, D.C. So if you want to follow the whole video, you can check with OMN media. So let's start here.
The United States is bullying the...
Okay, I will come back to the other videos. So here are the highlights from Oromo protesters. No translation is needed, it's in English, but I just repeat what they are saying. They say Abiy Ahmed is a dictator, Abiy Ahmed is a terrorist, Abiy Ahmed is unfit to lead, USA stop supporting Abiy Ahmed, terrorist Fano out of Oromia, no peace in Oromia, no peace in Ethiopia, no peace in Oromia, no peace in East Africa. Eritrea out of Oromia. Stop bombing Oromo civilians. So justice for Hachalu Hundessa. Free all Oromo political prisoners. These are the major slogans expressed by Oromo protesters in Washington, D.C. So so many deaths unaccounted for. So they call for justice for Hachalu Hundessa, but they didn't mention Abdul Jabbar Hussein and others, uh, you know, killed by Abiy Ahmed undercover uh, operatives. So many dignitaries killed and nobody accounted for, including the mass killing in Wallo, truckload of 30 men from Wallo, Oromia region, assassinated uh, by Amara militia, Amara Fano. On the video, nobody accounted for so far. So one day will come when justice will be served. So that's the external pressure, the Oromo diaspora doing its best. And they're going to do it tomorrow. They're going to do it after tomorrow. They're going to continue the pressure. So this should continue in Europe, in Canada, Australia, everywhere until the system is changed, until the leadership is removed and replaced by transitional government, then chosen by the public to lead that country. So until that happens, until the war in Oromia stopped, the pressure must continue. The other thing is chaos and destruction still happening in capital city Addis Ababa. Controversy over anthem, flag, the teaching and learning of Afan Oromo in Addis Ababa. So, so controversy over this intensified and spreading to different schools. School properties destroyed, students injured, teachers injured. So chaos in Addis Ababa. So that is the update, but that thing still didn't stop, still continue. And, the mayor, the Addis Ababa mayor, Adanich Abiy, is convening the meeting with the residents to cool down, but that's a very challenging one. So far, the government, the federal government, federal police arrested about 72 students who involved in this chaos. Thank you. Let's continue with other reading. This one is city police says 7 people injured in a bomb explosion in Lemi Kora district of Addis Ababa. Bomb explosion. Addis Ababa police announced that 7 people were injured when a bomb exploded on the balcony of a grocery store in Lemi Kura sub-city district, Warada of 9, the capital of Addis Ababa, on Thursday, 7th of December. The explosion occurred at around 9 p.m. local time in grocery called We Care, the city police said, adding that the injured victims were receiving medical treatment while investigation into the explosion are ongoing. The city police recalled recent seizure of various weapons brought into Addis Ababa as part of its effort to control illegal arms trafficking. There are anti-peace forces that are losing sleep when the city spends days and nights peacefully, the police said without mentioning who the anti-peace forces are. The police cautioned residents should realize that these anti-peace forces will not hesitate to destroy our peace and therefore should continue to cooperate with the security agencies, alertly protecting the neighborhoods and exposing the perpetrators. In particular, the police urged that institutions that provide services should pay attention to security and inspection works for the sake of common security. The city police also advised residents to use toll-free number 991 and 01111 to provide as well as receive information from the police. Credit Addis Standard. Another from Addis Standard. Lawmakers from Oromia region request Tigray peace deal redo between government OLA armed groups. Members of Ethiopian parliament elected from Oromia region said they have submitted a letter consisting 10 points to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and the senior leaders of the parliament demanding lasting peace in Oromia region. About 80 MPs convened and discussed security situation in Oromia region on 5 December last week before drafting the letter which urged the government, among other things, to make peace deal with Oromo Liberation Army OLA, a rebel group operating in the region in the same manner it did with the Tigrayan forces, as MEP told the BBC Afan Oromo service. The Oromos have suffered in a lack of peace. Killings and displacements have continued. The difficult situations the Oromo people are facing have persisted for long and does not seem to have an end, MEP Buzayo Degafa said, adding that the peace that has been made in Tigray has to be replicated in Oromia, and the people should be able to live in peace. Tigray was without peace yesterday, and there is now peace somehow. This needs to happen here in Oromia, be it with those armed or non-armed. Negotiations need to take place with all who have stakes in this, he added. He said the security situation of the Wallo Oromos living in the Amara region, border demarcation issues, the issues of teaching Afan Oromo in Addis Ababa, among other things, have been included in the letter signed by MEPs. According to Buzayo, a presser subsequent to their discussion and the issuance of the letter was cancelled after consultative meetings were held with senior leaders of the parliament, including Speaker Tagase Chafo, who assured them that there are promising directives going forward and that peace will prevail. A PR officer at the parliament, however, told Addis Standard that she is unaware of any sort of official discussion held by MEPs on security situation in Oromia and the letter they submitted to the speaker. Ethiopian government has reached a peace deal with Tigrayan forces on 2nd of November in Pretoria, South Africa, ending a 2-year-long bloody war in the northern part of the country. Calls have been mounting ever since for the government to also peacefully resolve the conflict in Oromia in a similar manner. Ethiopian government has reached a peace deal, in a similar manner. In a statement released last week following the latest killings of civilians in East Wallagga, Oromia, the opposition, Oromo Federalist Congress, OFC, said the peace pact that ignores the problems of Oromia does not treat the citizens of the country equally, while urging the international community to put the necessary political pressure on the government to solve the political disputes the country through political dialogue and peaceful means. So we'll see if Abiy Ahmed listens to this. This is about Benishangul Gumuz region signed peace agreement with a second rebel group deal signed in Sudan. The Benishangul Gumuz regional government said it has signed a peace agreement on 10th December with the armed group Benishangul People's Liberation Movement, BPLM in Khartoum, Sudan. BPLM, an armed group that was operating in the border area of the regional state, is the second rebel group to have signed peace agreement with the regional government in the last 2 months. 2 months. The regional government had signed a peace accord in October this year in Asosa, the capital city, with another armed group, the Gumuz People's Democratic Movement, GPDM, to resolve their problems through dialogue. The peace agreement reached between the regional government and the BPLM in Khartoum will see members of the armed groups disarmed and rehabilitated to participate in a peace building and development activities in the region, according to the regional government. The regional government didn't provide details, such as the role of mediators, including that of Sudan's, for providing the venue, but it said that BPLM members were warmly welcomed from the Sudanese border area of Shirkole district, Gemid, Kabale, by the residents of Shirkole, Menge, and Homosha, Ura, Asosa, and Bombasi districts. Ashadi Hassan, president of the Benishangul Gumuz region, said that the peace agreement reached with the armed group is the result of the peace call that the regional government has repeatedly offered to them. He stated that the regional government is working hard to resolve the differences through dialogue and peaceful means. Abdul Wahab Mahadi Isa, the leader of BPLM, on his part, expressed that the armed group signed the accord with understanding of the value the people of the region have given to peace. We will do our best to benefit all the people in the region in all aspects and expect everyone to stop blaming one another and work for mutual development, he said. In May last year, a memorandum of understanding was also signed between the regional state government and an armed group which would see members of the latter take up leadership position in the region, acquiring urban and rural land, as well as receive credit facilities, including for women, with a stated goal of solving the security crisis in the region sustainably. The Memorandum of Understanding, however, failed to bring to end the misery of civilians in the conflict-ravaged region. An attack by armed militants in March this year claimed the lives of at least 20 civilians when a public bus traveling from Matakel to Guba was ambushed. Dozens more were also injured. This is from State Department of State, US, is a Twitter on US African Summit. The hashtag US Africa Leadership Summit will serve as an opportunity to listen to and collaborate with African counterparts on key areas the United States and Africa define as critical for the future of the continent and our global community. So that's a short tweet on US African meeting and its benefit. This one is European Union World Bank Inc. 35 million euro grant to support Ethiopia's PSNP. Addis Ababa. This is Ethiopian News Agency credit, December 12, 2022. The European Union, EU, today has signed a 35 million euro grant with the World Bank to be dispersed through the latter to support the Ethiopian government's Rural Productive Safety Net Program, PSNP. EU Ambassador to Ethiopia, Ronald Kobia, and World Bank Operation Manager, Doema Petrescu, signed the grant in Addis Ababa in the presence of the State Minister of Finance for Economic Cooperation, Samerta Soaso. State Minister of Finance for Economic Cooperation, Samerta Soaso, said the peace agreement opens a new chapter for Ethiopia. The support will be critical to the people, especially in the conflict-impacted areas, she noted. We are also expecting to work in other areas, including ensuring that the peace agreement materialized and also the people benefit from the peace dividend, she said. EU Ambassador to Ethiopia, Ronald Kobia, on his part, said the grant for the fifth phase of PSNP comes following the landmark peace agreement and cessation of hostility that we hope will open a new chapter in the country, he noted. He further said that the agreement will attract all the goodwill of partners that are able and willing to contribute to the reconstruction and the recovery efforts being undertaken by the government of Ethiopia. The EU has supported the PSNP initiative since its inception, he noted, adding that the EU has remained among Ethiopia's largest bilateral assistance partners, investing over $60 million in the last 5 years to the Safety Net program. Since 2005, the EU has contributed over 300 million euros, he noted. World Bank Operations Manager Doima Petrescu, on her part, said PSNP is the largest safety net program in sub-Saharan Africa. The PSNP provides food or cash transfer to about 8 million people in Ethiopia, contributing to poverty reduction, livelihood support, and also to climate change adaptation through public works in rural area, she added. Okay, this is the last one. U.S. State Department on Kenya National Day. It was yesterday. So, press statement for Kenya's National Day. Anthony J. Blinken. I joined President Ruto and all Kenyans in celebrating 59 years of Kenya's independence. The close cooperation between Kenya and the United States on a wide range of shared priorities is a testament to the depth of our friendship and the shared values. We greatly appreciate Kenya's leadership in promoting peace and security as a contributor to UN and African missions and as a member of the UN Security Council. We look forward to forging an even closer economic relationship through our strategic trade and investment partnership, which will boost sustainable and inclusive economic growth to the benefit of workers, consumers, and businesses in both countries. On behalf of the government of the United States and the American people, I wish a happy Jamhuri Day. Jamhuri Day. We greatly value our partnership and friendship and look forward to strengthening it further. So that is U.S. State Secretary Anthony Blinken releasing press statement for Kenya National Day and Kenya's contribution for peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. So that's all I have for today's reading. Thank you. Let's continue with videos I selected from different media for today. The first one is US African Summit, then protest in Peru, plus maybe one more video. Thank you again.
African Leaders Summit is an opportunity to strengthen partnerships with African nations in order to advance shared priorities. And Washington appears poised to express support for some key African priorities.
President Biden believes that U.S. collaboration with African leaders, as well as with civil society and business leaders and the diaspora, women, youth, is essential to unlocking the potential of this decisive decade. As you know, the president intends to announce U.S. support for the African Union to join the G20 as a permanent member. It's past time for Africa to have permanent seats at the table in international organizations and initiatives, and the president also plans to underscore his commitment to UN Security Council reform, including support for a permanent member from the African continent.
The summit will tackle key areas of mutual concern, from business and investment to peace, health and food security, the climate crisis, and the question of good governance and democracy, a key pillar of the Biden administration's engagement with global stakeholders in a bid to counter the growing creep of autocracy around the world. With elections in Africa in 2023, the DRC, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and South Sudan, among others, a key focus of this White House.
Having a meeting about elections in 2023 is not about us raising the alarm bell or claiming, we've got concerns and then solutions. It's rather to say there are important elections coming up. We would like to do everything we can to support those elections being free, fair, and credible. And that goes for every election taking place in 2023, not picking and choosing certain ones and setting other ones aside. So the meeting is designed to indicate that the United States is focused on being supportive of free, fair, and credible elections everywhere they are taking place in Africa in 2023.
Sullivan promised specifics in the days ahead on the $55 billion pledge over 3 years to Africa, as he was pressed on whether the United States had lost ground in its relationship with Africa, given the lack of focus on the continent from the previous Republican administration.
Anytime an administration chooses not to put as much energy or emphasis into a place, it obviously has some ramifications. But I have to say that since President Biden has come into office, whether it's through the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, or it's through the work we've done on COVID-19, or it's through the significant announcements that we've made at both of the last two conferences of parties on climate change, we believe that we are not coming into this summit from a standing start. We're coming into this summit with a head of steam around a set of issues that this summit, I think, is going to kick into a higher gear. And that is going to put us in a position, not just for us to succeed over the course of next year or the following year, but really over the course of this decisive decade.
49 African countries have been invited, excluding those suspended by the African Union due to unconstitutional changes in government, or countries that do not enjoy full diplomatic relations with the United States. Sherwin Briceby's SABC News, New York.
So this is a chaos in Lima, Peru. Change of leadership happened last week, but the people disagree, so they are protesting against it. They won't change. It's a tough one. It's not a simple one we see in Ethiopia. It's a tough one. And it's not only students. This is the whole residents and citizens in Peru. This is a new leader, the lady. Just she was the vice president, then she took over, put the president in jail, but the people still didn't accept it.
Un acuerdo con el Congreso de la República para adelantar las elecciones generales para el mes de abril del 2024. Anuncio la declaratoria del estado de emergencia en las zonas de alta conflictividad social. Comunico que he dado las instrucciones para que se recupere pacíficamente el control del orden interno, sin afectar los derechos fundamentales de la ciudadanía. Lamento profundamente el fallecimiento de nuestros compatriotas en Andahuayla,
English translation below.
mi tierra. Expreso mis sentidas condolencias a sus familiares.
Okay, I think one more. Yeah, for Kenya National
Shop
Day.
with your Kohl's card for the best savings and biggest rewards. You'll earn 7.5% on every Kohl's purchase. 7.5% back.
Okay, this is Kenya's
Kenya
National
marked
Day.
on Monday 59 years of independence from British colonial rule. Large crowds attended the Jamhuri Day celebrations in Nairobi's Nyayo National Stadium. The country's fifth president, William Ruto, said independence had brought many achievements and much progress to the nation, and paid homage to the forefathers who made it possible.
We gather as a nation to commune with our forefathers, who were long-suffering innocent victims of imperial plunder and colonial oppression, yet also heroic defenders of our inalienable sovereignty and valiant fighters of our freedom.
The Kenyan leader presided the ceremony, and before a number of ambassadors, dignitaries, and government officials, he hailed Kenya's consistency in peacekeeping missions in the region.
We are proud of Kenya's consistent record of leadership to advance the cause of peace, cohesion, security, and stability in our region. Under various regional and continental frameworks, and with the support of the international partners, we are deploying our position as a regional anchor state for the benefit of our neighbors and our region.
The theme of this year's national holiday was Connect, Innovate, and Inspire. According to local media reports, unlike in past celebrations, this year's guests were mainly from the technological field.
There we go. So that's 59th anniversary of Kenya's independence from British. As the celebration, you see when in the country has in a good mood, when the country has peace and stability, no war, no civil war, no citizens killing another citizens we see in Ethiopia. So these are some of the videos I selected for today's update. Let me come to the conclusion. The pressure on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and the Prosperity Party leadership must continue. The pressure to solve the conflict we have in Oromia in a peaceful manner, like a Tigrayan issue, that must also continue. I don't know why they are ignoring. The government is solving with a Benishangul small group. The OLA is much higher in number and in operation, but they ignore for some reason. I don't know. That should be also resolved in a, in the same way it happened with the Tigray and the Benishangul Gumuz region. So that should not be ignored. As protesters said, no peace in Oromia, no peace in Ethiopia, even no peace in East Africa. So that's a major problem for that country. Abiy Ahmed should not ignore it, and those who are working with him should not ignore it. They must resolve it. After that, let's come to the table, have a negotiated settlement. Who can lead the country in the future? Abiy Ahmed, no. And his advisors, no. They are shown as failed leadership, catastrophe, death, destruction, ethnic tension. So they should be give a way for transitional government in that country to bring stability, peace, freedom, justice, equality in that country. And the Oromos in back home, students, they are doing their best. They are boycotting mail. They are, blocking roads, boycotting transportation service. They are doing everything. They are doing everything against the system, and those who are living, the Oromos in diaspora committee, must continue their pressure. Not only in DC, not only in Minnesota, everywhere in the diaspora community until this uh, prosperity leadership is changed. We cannot continue with a failed leadership, a catastrophe, a bloody leadership in that country. So the pressure should continue. Twitter campaign, phone call campaign, fundraising for the cause, all form of uh, activism should continue until change comes in that country. So the other update is World Soccer Qatar 2022. I know Croatia versus Argentina is on the way. Maybe it's already done. Uh, when I checked last time, it was 2, Argentina, Croatia 0. So I don't know at this time, but most probably Argentina will win. And tomorrow, Morocco versus France will play at 1 p.m. or 19 GMT. So get ready for that game. Apologies. And so the winner of today will play with the winner of tomorrow. So probably Morocco versus Argentina or France versus Argentina. So we just uh, wait and see. So the pressure should continue, as I said, and DC will have the second protest tomorrow. Please, Oromos living in Middle East, living in Europe, living in Canada, living in Australia. I know they have another protest in California. So, Chicago did last time. So we should continue this pressure until change comes in that country, until peace, stability, until killing of each other ends in that country. Our pressure should continue. Thank you for joining me, and be safe. So long, everyone.